Consider this case study. When a dam of coal slurry broke in February 1972, the community of Logan County, West Virginia, got wiped away, destroyed. A reminder, quick definition of action: movement, moment by moment, intention, conscious or not, and consequences. Let's look at these three moments in the case of the Buffalo Creek disaster. First, movements, moment by moment. The sociologist Erikson told the story of this great flood in his classic work, Everything in Its Path. Pause the video to read the passage from Everything in Its Path. As you read this passage, look for specifics, specific actions, and specific things. Erickson's writing is filled with action verbs: roared, broke through, landed, scraped up, fused, called, described, set off, drove, smoldering, raising, throwing, returning. To understand these action verbs, you need lots of specific details about people, places, and things. So, Erikson talks about the lake of black water, the breach, the coal dust and other solids, the dam, the banks of refuse, the thousands of tons of other materials, the liquid substance, the mud wave, the rolling lava, the channel, the smoldering trough of slag, mushroom-shaped clouds, the air, spatters of mud, the haul road, a few men, and the mine. Action begins with the movements that can be seen, tracked, and described, actions that affect people physically. But actions also require intention and resolve. So what about intention? The raging flood didn't have intention, did it? Well, think again. Consider the governor's report on the event and who or what might be responsible for the flood. In other words, who had intention and didn't act on it or acted on it in a faulty way. So the flood itself had no intention, but the flood revealed the actions and intentions that produced the flood, the malign neglect of the mine owners who stripped the mountains bare and left the waste in giant heaps. The report blamed the Pitson and Buffalo Mine Company and employees who knew a potential crisis existed but raised little alarm. The report also blamed practices in the coal industry that went back decades and politicians who wrote loose laws that did not hold mining companies to strict standards for safety. The report also targeted the registration system and people who saw the looming disaster but did nothing about it. We can also see intention in the actions of the flood's victims. The people of Appalachia are often depicted as passive and incapable of action, but in the face of an unprecedented disaster, many of the people of Buffalo Creek took strong action. They struggled and coped. They left for other communities. They cared for the injured and the bereaved. They formed support groups. They rebuilt homes and businesses, and they joined legal action. Finally, let's look at the consequences involved in these actions. Out of a population of 5,000 people, there were 125 deaths and over 1,000 injuries, the destruction of 507 houses, 44 mobile homes, and 30 businesses, 4,000 people left homeless, the destruction of a once tight community, and long-term psychological stress. Now it's your turn. The Buffalo Creek disaster was a relentless surge of events, overwhelming the people in the town. Can you imagine how the scene could have unfolded in different ways, more or less catastrophically, depending on the actions of the various people involved at different times?